Welcome back to my channel for this week's Human Design Transit Report. Today is Monday, February 13th, 2023, and we have a new transit that begins today, and then we have another transit that begins next Sunday, and we're going to talk about both of those today. Now, I want to say, if you're new to the transit reports, it's really helpful if you go and you watch the Essentials That You Need to Know video. It's in the playlist with these other transit reports, and it just gives you a context and helps you understand how to use the transits, how it's going to influence you depending on your own chart, and so on. So I really encourage you to go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. So as of today, the sun has moved into the gate 30, which is known as the gate of desire or passion. And the earth has moved into the gate 29, which is the gate of perseverance or devotion. And we'll dive into those individual gates in just a moment. But before we go there, take a look at this chart and see that we have both the 4130 lit up, which goes from the root to the emotional solar plexus, and then the 3536 that goes through from the emotional solar plexus to the throat. Okay, and all of that definition is in the sensing circuit. And both of the gates that we have lit up by the sun and the earth are in the sensing circuit. So let's talk about the sensing circuit for a second. So the sensing circuit is right-brained energy. It comes in through the right brain, crosses over, comes down around the left-hand side of the body, and then up through the central channel. It's one of two subcircuits in the collective circuit. The other is the understanding or the logic or the pattern circuit, which is left brain energy. So with the right brain energy, it's creative, it's expansive, it's embodied, it's experiential, it's not rational or reasonable or analytical or any of that kind of thing. Okay, it's much more working through the body, working through the senses, working through the imagination. It's highly intuitive and it is emotional, as we can see here, because you can see the emotional solar plexus is lit up by 3 different gates and has 2 different channels running through it during this current transit. So we've got a lot of emotional energy. And so one of the things about emotional energy is that it needs time, right, to get clear, because emotional energy just naturally has waves. It just naturally kind of goes up and down. And anybody who has this defined in their chart, if it's colored in their chart, they're going to have an emotional wave just as part of who they are. It's not necessarily responding to something that's happening out in life. It's just a part how their energy moves. And so the energy of the emotional solar plexus, it is an engine in the chart. So it's very powerful. I think of it as the second most powerful engine in the chart after the sacral. So it's really powerful energy, and it's very creative. Emotional energy is very creative. And this isn't just like feelings. Okay. It's not just like a feeling of disappointment or excitement or something like that. It's a powerful creative force that, when you know how to gather it and harness it and direct it, can help you to bring into your life more of what you want. So let's take a look at the particular gates that are being lit up here. The sun is in the gate 30, which in the I Ching is known as clinging fire. So it is powerful energy. And when we see this in a chart, we go, there's a lot of intensity here. It really increases the intensity of the chart overall when we see the 30 happening here. So it's called desire in traditional human design and passion in quantum human design. And it's emotional energy, right? And so when we can gather our passion, right, and our desire, and we can direct it where we want it to, it's a very, very powerful force in our lives. Now, unfortunately, emotional energy can also be kind of passionate around what we're afraid of. So we want to be careful that we are really identifying with the things that we care about, that we want more of, and we elevate the emotional tone of that 30. So that it's operating at the highest possible frequency that we can reach. And this is why, one of the reasons related to human design, but why we want to use practices like the Kundalini yoga practices that I share with you a few times a year, you can go and find them here in this playlist, because when you do those practices, it helps increase the set point of your frequency. It helps elevate the quality of your emotional energy so that it becomes more powerful, and it's also more pleasurable and more, something that you want to experience. The higher the frequency, the better it feels. And so you want your passion to be elevated to a place where you're really focusing on the things that you desire. You have positive anticipation about it. You're going, oh yeah, this is really what I want. And you can get yourself into an elevated state where you connect with the quantum field. And as you're doing that, you're able to really deposit, if you will, into the quantum field, the feeling of already having that which you desire in your life. Right? And so this is kind of the human design version of law of attraction, if you will. And so the gate 30 is a super powerful ally for this because it has so much passion and so much intensity. Now, during this particular transit, it's also connected to its partner, which is the 41, which is the gate of fantasy in traditional human design, or the gate of imagination in quantum human design. And so this is a powerful, imaginative, intuitive energy. And when you marry your passion together with your imagination, you can get a very, very powerful combination. And so I just really encourage you during this transit to be getting connected to what you're passionate about. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people are kind of disconnected from what they really want, for would make them feel really passionate. And if that's true for you, this will be a really good week for you to be kind of going inside, maybe remembering what you were passionate about when you were a younger person, a teenager or even younger than that. Sometimes we can remember from that earlier time things that we really cared about before we really tried to start to fit in, and we were focused on, our education and becoming an adult and kind of finding our way out in the world, where a lot of times when we do that, our conditioning takes over and we kind of clip our wings, if you will, in the attempt to make our way and find our place in the world. So this is a really good time for you to be playing around with that. And I would say use that energy of imagination also. And Mercury is really good to help you, talk about this, communicate about it. And it can also help you even write about it in your journal, because you're communicating with yourself and your higher self and your guides or your angels if you do work with non-physical beings. And so Mercury can encourage your imagination and your connection, not just with other people, but with the more than human world, and also with your supports in non-physical. Then we have the Earth lighting up the gate 29, which is on the sacral center. And in traditional human design, it's known as perseverance, right? Persevere. And in quantum human design, it's known as devotion, which I love. I love that upgrade of the 29. And so the 29 gives us the energy to stick with something and to develop a positive discipline around it, right? A way that we become devoted to something. And so I would say this is a really good time for you to take a look at, what am I devoted to? Because deep down, we're all kind of devoted to something already, but we might not be aware of it. I mean, some of us are dedicated to not thinking very much, right? And just kind of getting through the day, right? That is our discipline, right? Which is pretty limited, right? You're just trying to kind of hold it together. And hey, if you're in that place, I'm not judging you for that. I just want to say that you have a lot more potential. Am I devoted to a person or a group of friends, even though maybe you've already outgrown them, or maybe it's not so healthy for you to be around them? So you want to kind of look at that stuff, right? And then you can elevate it and say, okay, what do I want to devote myself to? And since the sun is lighting up the 30 of passion, you want to devote yourself to your passion, right? You want to devote yourself to the possibilities that gate 41 is opening up for you in terms of your imagination. You want to devote yourself to the potentials that you actually have. And your human design can help you see that, and it can help you see how you turned away from your potential or haven't activated it and cultivated it because of your conditioning or because you thought it wasn't really available to you. So this is a really awesome transit for you to do a reset. And it's a good time of year here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're just past the Feast of St. Bridget, or Imbolc. And so we're here right at the beginning of springtime. And even if there's snow where you are, there's ice where you are, it's still just this beginning where the days are clearly getting longer and we can feel the springtime coming. So it's an awesome time for us to be leaning into our imagination and to possibility and to potential and to be doing it that in the areas where we have passion in our lives. I also just want to note that the 3536 is being lit up. It's been lit up. It's going to be lit up again during the next transit. And that is also in the sensing circuit. And it's really has a lot of spirit of adventure, and engaging with new things, trying new things out. And through that process, breaking patterns of the past that no longer serve us. So it's this kind of adventurous, go for it, try things out energy. And that can help us to break away from things that have held us back in the past. The shadow side of it or the downside of it can be that we can get a little bit jaded. We can be like, I've already tried a bunch of stuff, it doesn't work, or I don't want to do it anymore, or nothing seems, juicy anymore, or whatever. So you kind of want to watch out for that energy. But it pairs incredibly well with that 4130, bringing energy from the root into the solar plexus all the way up into the throat, right? So there's it's actually the left side of the body. The whole left side of the body is lit up here. Through these two channels. And so this is a great time for you to be kind of just breaking out of the ways that maybe you have slotted yourself into certain ways of being that are preventing you from the fullness of your being. And one last note, which is that Saturn is in the gate 30. Saturn has been there since the end of January, is going to be there until the middle of March. And so Saturn is also lighting up that gate of passion, right? And Saturn is our great teacher. And so you can use that energy of Saturn also to be like, where am I in relation to my passion? Right? Am I in touch with my passion? Am I passionate about something that's actually dysfunctional for me? Because we can be. Right. And then how can I elevate my relationship to that passion using the power of Saturn, which is kind of lighting up the things that are in your way. Like Saturn is the energy that can just burn away the dross, as they say. It burns away the things that are in the way of your truth. And so you can use the energy for Saturn as well. Then on Sunday, February 19th, we have a new transit coming in, and the sun is going to light up the gate 55 and the earth is going to light up the gate 59. You can just see here from this chart that the 3536 is still lit up, like I said that it was before. And so we're still going to have some of that kind of adventuresome breaking patterns of the past kind of energy. And that's going to continue to be with you. And we also still have emotional energy because the 55 is on the emotional solar plexus. In fact, you can see that there are 4 different gates that are lit up on the emotional solar plexus. So we've got a lot of emotional energy going on here. We still have that 36 and we still have the 30 because Saturn is still in the 30. Okay, so we haven't left the 30. We just don't have the sun there anymore. The sun has moved on to the 55. So the 55 is the gate of spirit in traditional human design and the gate of faith in quantum human design. And it is in the knowing circuit, so it's highly intuitive, and it is revolutionary energy. It doesn't fit in. It's here to bring change, and it's a huge ally for us, particularly around our abundance. It's the energy for helping us to feel that we have what we need when we need it, that we always are taken care of. We always have what we need. It's not an energy for accumulation. Okay, which is how we've been trained in Western culture, is to accumulate, right? Is to accumulate and consume and accumulate and consume and accumulate and consume. The 55 is very different from that. The 55 is here in this spirit of faith, right? Saying, I have what I need, right? I have what I need. And chances are, if you take a look around right now and while you're watching this video, right, you look at the environment that you're in and you're like, oh, right here in this moment, do I have what I need? Okay. And, for some people, they really may not. But I just want to point out that the not enoughness, not having what you need, always needing to have more is like this mantra of Western culture that really undermines us and makes us feel like no matter how much we have, we never have enough. We want to just like unravel that one, right? Just pull on that string and unravel that one because it's not helpful to us. And it's not true most of the time. I love this Sufi saying, which is that in order to experience abundance, right, just have gratitude for what you've already received. So that's always a good one to practice if you start finding yourself going down that negative rabbit hole into the I don't have what I need, I don't have enough. That'll help bring you back up. And remember, again, this is emotional energy. Okay. So you want to get emotionally involved in the sense of having enough and that you're always supported and that the universe is there to help provide you with what you need. Now, the thing I will say is that when you're in touch with your strategy and your authority, that will fuel your faith like nobody's business. So if you haven't already really cracked the nut for your authority and your strategy, depending on your type, I highly recommend that you do that. If you're not sure what that means, I've got a playlist about all the types and strategies and authorities and so on, so you can go check that out. And a lot of times people kind of skip over that because they don't understand what that means. But that is not going to help you really use the power of human design to get you what you want in life. So I encourage you to really make that a priority for yourself. Then the Earth has moved into the gate 59, which is on the sacral center. And the sacral center is the center for life force energy. It's the most powerful engine in the chart. So this is super powerful energy. And in traditional human design, it's known as sexuality. And in quantum human design, it's known as sustainability. This is a really interesting evolution of the energy of this chart. I still really connect to it. I have this defined in my chart. I still connect to it as sexuality. Life force energy is sexual energy. It's also other kinds of energy. It's prana, it's chi, but does have a sexual component to it. It's not necessarily sexuality like having sex or pursuing sex, but it is this kind of tantric energy, if you will, which has a sexual component to it. Now, I think it's been revised as sustainability in that we want our life force energy to be sustainable. We want to be living in our life in a sustainable way. Right? We want to, and I'm now, instead of using sustainability, I'm really using the term regenerative because I think we've kind of moved beyond the time here on planet Earth where we can just be sustainable. Like we can't just sustain where we are. We actually have to regenerate. And what I mean by that when it comes to you potentially and us as people is that we have an epidemic of burnout going on right now. I did a whole teaching about that, which you can go and check out here if you want to. Right? An epidemic of burnout is not being sustainable, right? So when that's happening, we actually have to regenerate ourselves. We have to recover. We have to, restore. And then ideally, we're going to regenerate ourselves so that we don't burn out anymore. And I did talk about that in that video, and I'm going to do some more videos about that. So we want our life force energy to be beyond sustainable. We want to be able to regenerate it. And so again, this is why, those Kundalini yoga practices that I talked to you about, super helpful, even if you're a non-sacral being able to really generate that energy in the sacral center, right? In the fire in the belly, will help the non-sacral beings also. And for those of us who do have defined sacrals, will help us to build that as well. Because I think that we a lot of us habitually run at a deficit in terms of our energy, even when we have multiple motors to find, just because that is how we've been trained to be. So you have an opportunity during this transit that's coming up next Sunday to be really looking at, okay, how can I look at the expenditure of my energy? And how can I have faith that I'm always going to have what I need when I need to have it? Recognizing that in this moment, I may need to regenerate, right? I may need to restore myself. I may need to rest. I may need to just take a look at what I've been doing that has been draining me. And that is really in the way of me being able to thrive fully, and then to make a change around that. Right? And as you do that, to have the faith that you're still going to be able to have the resources that you need. Okay? Because a lot of times people wear themselves to the bone because they're afraid they're not going to have enough. And unfortunately, this is a way that we've really been programmed by Western culture and really by multinational capitalism and the way that it has infiltrated our whole way of thinking. And so I would really love to support you to liberate yourself from that, because it is a no-win situation for us, both individually, in our communities, in our families, and in our world. And so you have the opportunity right here during this transit to make a shift into a more regenerative mindset that is based in your faith that the creative intelligence of the universe has your back, and it is going to support you with what you're passionate about, because Saturn's still there saying, what are you passionate about? Are you connected to what you're passionate about? And when you do that, everything in your life is going to become easier. I hope you're going to join us this coming Thursday for our chart lab reading. It's like a chartathon if you've participated in my chartathons before. So we're going to speed read charts, and I will be leading and facilitating, but I'm also going to ask people to contribute, which is a great thing for you when you're at the stage you're kind of figuring out what's going on in charts. And even if you're not doing that, getting to watch what other people are doing. So we're doing that inside of my Becoming Sovereign virtual retreat center. It is free to you to join. The link is here, and it'll be at the end of the video, and it's down in the description. And then you can just go to the upcoming events space and find it there and find the link there. So it's happening on Thursday at noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. CET. So I highly encourage you to join us. If you can't make it live, you can access the recording inside of the community. And we're really starting to build a nice community, and there's a lot of great content in there for you to enjoy. And for now, it's free. In April, I think it's going to be in April, I'm basically working on finishing my book. And so that's my priority right now. But I'm hoping in April, it might be May, but I'm going to create a premium version of what's happening in the community where you'll get to work with me more closely inside of the community if that's something that you want to do. And you can start to learn more specifically from other people as well. All right. That's my transit report for this week. Many blessings. Much love.